In the hills between Ramallah and Jerusalem, where olive trees older than empires cast shadows across stone walls built by countless generations, there runs a road no GPS can map and no government has ever paved. The villagers call it Tariq al-Ghilan, the road of Ghouls. This is the story of Ahmad, the taxi driver, whose shortcuts through the mountains led him into a realm where the dead have unfinished business with the living. Ahmad had been driving taxis through the Palestinian hills for 25 years. He knew every village, every checkpoint, every hidden path that could save time when the main roads were closed. His yellow Mercedes was a familiar sight, and his reputation for finding alternate routes made him popular with those who needed to reach their destinations quickly. But Ahmad had a secret route he used only in emergencies, a narrow mountain road that appeared on no official map, winding through abandoned villages emptied by war and time. The locals warned him against it, whispering stories of ghouls and jinn, but Ahmad was a practical man who believed in what he could see and touch. Superstitions, he would tell his worried wife, Maryam. Just stories to keep people from exploring. The road saves 2 hours on the journey to Jerusalem. One evening in late October, Ahmad picked up an unusual passenger, an elderly woman in a traditional Palestinian thob, her face veiled, her hands henna'd in intricate patterns. She spoke in a dialect so old Ahmad had to strain to understand her. "Take me to my village," she said, pressing a heavy, warm gold coin into his palm. It was stamped with Arabic calligraphy he didn't recognize. "Which village, Sit?" he asked respectfully. "Kirbat al-Ma'in," she replied, "the village of the springs." Ahmad frowned. He had never heard of such a place. He knew every settlement in the region, but the coin was real and the woman seemed harmless. Perhaps it was a small hamlet he had overlooked. "I'll take you as far as I can," he said, starting the engine. As they drove, the woman began to tell him about her village, how it had been famous for its healing springs, how pilgrims would come from all over Palestine to drink the blessed water. But her stories seemed to belong to a different century, filled with references to Ottoman officials and Turkish gold. "When were you last there?" Ahmad asked politely. 70 years, she said. "I've been away for 70 years. Something in her tone made Ahmad glance in the rearview mirror. In the dim light of the dashboard, the woman's face looked strange, too pale, too still. Her eyes reflected the light like an animal's. As they climbed higher into the mountains, Ahmad noticed the landscape changing in ways that made no sense. The road seemed to lead them through terrain he didn't recognize, past ruins that looked far older than any Palestinian village he knew. "Turn here," the woman said, pointing to what looked like nothing more than a gap between two ancient olive trees. "Sit, there's no road there," Ahmad protested. "There is a road," she insisted. "There has always been a road." And as Ahmad looked more carefully, he saw she was right. A narrow path materialized between the trees, paved with stones so old they seemed to predate the Roman Empire. Against his better judgment, Ahmad turned onto the hidden road. The Mercedes bounced, and the temperature inside the car began to drop despite the warm October evening. The road led them through a valley Ahmad was certain had never existed before. Ancient ruins rose on either side, not the familiar stone houses of Palestinian villages, but structures belonging to an older civilization entirely. Columns carved with symbols that predated Arabic, walls decorated with figures that looked more Canaanite than Islamic. "This is it," the woman said as they approached a cluster of buildings that seemed to shimmer in the moonlight. Kirbat al-Ma'in. But as Ahmad looked closer, he realized the village wasn't abandoned. Figures moved between the buildings, people dressed in clothing from many different eras. He saw Ottoman-era merchants, British Mandate officials, fighters from the 1948 war, and villagers in traditional dress that seemed to span centuries. All of them were translucent. All of them were dead. "Welcome to the village of the lost," the woman said. And when Ahmad looked at her again, she too had become transparent. Her traditional thob was stained with blood, and her henna-decorated hands showed the wounds of violence.
"I died in 1948.
said matter-of-factly, when the soldiers came. We all died, but we never left. We've been waiting for someone to remember us, to tell our stories. Ahmad tried to start the car, but the engine wouldn't turn over. The doors wouldn't open. All around them, the ghostly villagers began to approach, their faces filled with a desperate longing.
Tell them we existed.
An old man pleaded, his transparent hands pressing against the window. Tell them we had names, we had families, we had dreams. Remember our children, whispered a young mother carrying a baby that flickered like candlelight. Remember that they laughed and played and sang. Ahmad realized he was trapped in a place between life and death, a village that existed only in the memories of the departed. The ghouls of Palestinian folklore weren't monsters at all. They were the spirits of those who had died with stories untold, who could not rest until someone acknowledged their existence. What do you want from me? He asked. Witness, the elderly woman said. Remember, return to the world of the living and tell them we were here. Tell them our village existed, that our lives had meaning, that our deaths were not in vain. One by one, the spirits shared their stories. Ahmad heard tales of love and loss, of celebrations and sorrows. He heard about the healing springs that had drawn pilgrims for generations, the ancient olive groves that had fed families for centuries, the traditions passed down through endless generations. But he also heard about the night the village died, the gunfire, the screams, the desperate flight through the mountains that ended in a massacre at the sacred springs. We were erased from the maps, the woman said. Our name was forgotten, our history was buried. But we remained trapped between memory and oblivion, waiting for someone who would listen. As dawn approached, the ghostly village began to fade. The spirits grew more transparent. Their voices became whispers on the wind. You have heard us, the woman said. Now you must return, and remember. You will remember us. You will tell them we were here. Tell them we loved, we lived, we breathed under this same sky. And warn them, warn those who destroy without conscience, who erase lives like words on paper, that the dead do not forget. Every child silenced still cries in the wind. Every home destroyed still echoes with laughter. Every life stolen leaves a shadow that grows darker with time. They think they can bury us in silence, but we are the consequence of their cruelty. We are what remains when humanity is forgotten. Tell them, Ahmad, the ghosts they create will never let them rest.